All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Discovering Lake County. We'd like to thank everybody for joining us today. Big shout out to my friends at Agora Co-working in Grays Lake. We are recording from there today. Luke at Agora here runs a co-working space and just a great dude. So if you're looking for a place to get your business out of the house for a day, for a week, or a lifetime home, Agora is a really cool place, and they will work with you for whatever your needs might be. So today, I'm super happy because we've met a couple times. So I have Derrick Baker from Relish. How are you today, buddy?
I'm good. Thanks for having me. I'm pumped to be here.
Hey, it's my pleasure. I was so excited when we started doing Lake County because it's funny because your brand is really kind of a Cook County,
Yeah,
County thing.
100%.
But you're a Lake County boy.
Yeah.
All right. So where did you grow up?
Grew up in Round Lake.
You did?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Went to all my schooling there, elementary, high school. Then I went to college in Chicago. That's where like my deeper love and connection to Chicago came from.
Okay.
But yeah, now I live in Grays Lake currently.
And your shop's in Grays Lake too,
Yep.
right?
Yeah, my print shop is in Grays Lake too.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so a guy like you, I met you and I see the Relish brand around. So I knew the brand before I knew you, which is kind of fun. And it's very deep seated in the love of Chicago, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
when did that happen for you?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, like goes back to college. I can remember I would take the train from Round Lake to Chicago, Union Station, and then public transportation or just walk from Union Station to class.
Where were you going to Columbia?
Columbia College.
Nice.
Yeah. And so I could just remember being there. I'm like, man, I want to find some like really cool Chicago merch, I'm down here all the time. I want that to be my like identity, you
Right.
know, but going shop to shop, souvenir stores, whatever, could not find anything that fit my style. It was just very boring graphics, like maybe a drawing of the Bean or the Sears Tower. And it just says Chicago, Illinois in Times New
It's like they
Roman.
have the same shit everywhere.
Yeah. Very repeatable stuff,
Yes.
but it was just boring. I was like, I don't want any of this, like where's the cool stuff? Like there should be like a skate shop that sells Chicago only,
Right.
So I can remember on graduation day, I was just kind of like sitting there waiting for my name to be called. And I'm like, hey, maybe I should be the one that makes that cool Chicago stuff. Cause I just spent 4 years searching for it and I couldn't find anything.
So what did you go to school for then?
For graphic design.
For graphic design?
Yeah.
Is that something you wanted to do for a long time?
No. Honestly, when I picked that route, I didn't even know what graphic design was. I was an artist growing up,
Okay.
but I didn't want to be a fine artist. I didn't want to create paintings and hopefully somebody bought it for $3,000. I wanted more reasonably priced things that can be repeatable, that can be purchased by the average person, And I didn't know what that was at the time. I was thinking, I don't know, like zines or something I can make, or maybe like little posters or something, but not fine art where there's just one that had a hefty price tag.
So did you have any like getting out of school? Do you have any background, like family or anybody into clothing or T-shirts or merchandise or anything?
Not really clothing, but I can remember growing up. My mom was artistic. She would like DIY certain things around the house, and she had little art sculptures and stuff that she had created growing up. So it was always like, wow, like it was just built into me. Like you can create your own thing if you wanted to, like there's it's just unlimited out there, like
It really is, and I don't think, well, nowadays, now that it's 2025, I think people get it a little bit more, but especially like back when you and I were growing up or similar ages, that wasn't like a normal thing of thinking that you can do whatever you wanted, right? Like the side hustles or the being an entrepreneur wasn't as anywhere near as popular as it is today.
yeah, definitely. And I think also my dad was a carpenter, so he would like bring home like these big like sketch pads, and he's like drawing out like
That's cool.
houses and decks and stuff in a certain way. So I also saw that side of it too, like the planning and the long hours that went into it and stuff. But yeah, like both parents there were doing something that wasn't very typical, like growing up when we did.
Right.
But like you said, like it's in your face. Everybody's like trying to create their own thing now.
Yes. It's funny when you ask little kids right now, like, well, what do you want to be when you grow up? Well, I'm going to be a YouTuber. I'm going to
Yeah.
be a
Influencer.
right,
Yeah.
an influencer, whatever that. I hate that word, by the way.
Yeah. My DMs are full of like, can I be a influencer for your brand or whatever? It's
Right.
like, and then you go over to their page and like, you barely have any followers. Like, obviously, maybe you're just getting started, but like,
Sure. But if somebody wrote that to you and they have a couple million followers, well, sure.
yeah,
The
right.
merch is on the way.
Yeah,
That's what
absolutely.
you could do.
Yeah.
Since we're talking about, okay, anybody that wants to follow on, whether they're on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, well, you're everywhere, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And is it Relish Brand? Is that where they follow?
Yeah. Most of them are going to be relish_brand.
Okay.
But if you start typing in relish and you're in the area, it'll probably pop up.
Okay, so anybody that's seen any videos that I do, I pride myself on being a little tad bit ridiculous. And before I knew that I wanted to be your friend, I watch your videos and I love your videos. If anybody's
Oh, thank you.
yeah, they're
Thank
great,
you.
man.
Yeah. I mean, it becomes an obsession, like if you're a creative already,
Yes.
it's like, how do you portray yourself on social media? But you can't help but be creative, and
it's
put a little
genuine for
humor
people.
too.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, and it's genuine from you because some of your first ads I saw were like whether they're escalator where you're changing shirts, or I think a couple of them like throwing hats at the camera or no, dropping the shirts, but it's backwards.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a really cool video too.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, obviously you consume a lot, so you're like, you see what other people are doing, you're like, oh, what can my spin on this be? Like let's see what they're doing, but also let's spin it a little bit and see if that has any traction. And
Yes. Oh, and now that I'm thinking, you did the Eagle Insurance commercial remake.
oh yeah, yeah, Eagle Man.
Eagle
Yeah,
Man. I absolutely, and anybody from Chicago knows Eagle Man.
absolutely.
Here's a fun fact for you. So
All
I
right.
started, right out of college, I did broadcasting, video, TV, radio, all these things. So my first job, I worked for RDR Productions in Northbrook. Second job I'm on, the owner of Eagle Insurance comes in. And this, no shit, this is like, so I got to sit down and talk to him about the first commercial. And I said, well, why did you do that? So if I remember the story right, he said that God had came to him and told him to make that commercial. And Jerry something. But when he made that commercial, he had 4 employees. They launched that commercial and it turned into, they had like 400 employees in like 6 months
Wow.
from that. So the second commercial was with Mancow.
Uh-huh.
And my job that day was to sit with Mancow in the car and like hang out with him
Oh wow.
before the commercial happened. So when I saw your Eagle Insurance thing, I was like, but that's great shit.
Yeah. And
super
who else can say they came out with one commercial concept and blew up from that? They ran the same commercial for 40 years.
There's like
I don't know.
what was the other? Victory Auto Wreckers.
Yeah.
Where the door falls off. Maybe have you done that one?
I have.
Have you really?
I haven't done the commercial spinoff yet, but I made a shirt and I've literally had this shirt printed ready to go for over a year now.
Really?
And I'm trying to source a vehicle. So if anybody has a car, it's very similar to that, and you'll let me borrow it for a weekend,
Yes.
I promise I won't damage it.
Yeah, we don't know what it is.
Yeah.
It's got to be a 70-something Buick.
I think it's a Chevy Impala.
Is it Impala?
Yeah, yeah. Like a late 60s or something like that.
Okay, we always have a call to action with every podcast we do. That is it.
Yeah.
Find out.
Yeah.
And when we post this, we'll put the make and model and color underneath, and we're going to get the car.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Maybe me and you should just go look for it and buy it. It
Yeah.
might be kind of fun.
Yeah.
Make it the Relish Mobile, too.
Yeah.
It'd be fun.
And maybe we can auction it off for charity afterwards or something.
I like the way you're thinking.
Yeah.
With just one door, because that door has to fall
Yeah,
off.
exactly. Yeah.
Sorry, we get sidetracked. So, the name Relish,
Yeah.
where does it come from?
Well, I mean, the obvious answer is the bright green neon stuff that's on a Chicago style hot dog.
Shouldn't be consumable, I don't
Right. Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, it has other meanings too, So I knew all along from the get-go that it was going to be a Chicago clothing brand. So everything was going to be inspired by Chicago. So I wanted the name to have a reference to Chicago without being in your face like Chicago clothing. That would be very generic, and that's not me,
Yes.
And then relish has other meanings, so you can relish a time, history, an event, relish artwork,
Yep.
whatever it may
Relish
be.
the moment. Is the word that comes to
Exactly.
my head.
Yeah.
That's cool. Did you? Was there any other choices? I always like to see what else was on the
Oh,
table.
I mean, so we're 10 years old now. So when I came up with Relish, actually it was me and a buddy at the time. We had written down probably 3 pages worth of names. And then just going through them all, we just came back to Relish a couple times.
Right.
And I'm like, yeah, that's it. Because you also don't want to like stew over something, like the name could be whatever. As if your clothing, if your artwork, everything else is awesome, then the name can really just be crap.
Right. You could have a great name and a crap product, and it's not going to matter what you named it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So relish came from that.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So I love to see how things go. So I can admit you're a young man. You graduate from and your life's passion of your graphic design.
Yeah.
So when you do that, your first job, like what is your first job? Obviously, you just don't jump in and start Relish Brand, right?
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, going through school, I was a server, a bartender. Shout out to anybody bartending and going to school during the week. Like it's the perfect job to have while you're going to school because, your hours are kind of what you can make it and you're making good money doing it too. So I was going to school all week, bartending on the weekends. So once I came out of school looking for work in that field, it's not a high paying job.
Right.
So I luckily all the way in Schaumburg. So here I am driving back and forth to Schaumburg every day, making very little, but happy to be in the field that I went to school for.
Sure.
But here I am still bartending on the weekends, So it's been a grind, you know.
Well, it always is, and
Yeah.
it's fun kind of getting. Well, it's fun when you look back at it.
Yeah,
You get
yeah,
funny, right?
yeah.
To go. So, like first shirt you make, like, do you make something,
Yeah.
or is it a drawing? Is it a shirt? What is it?
Yeah, it's a shirt. So I'm working at a company that produces shirts and all sorts of stuff like lanyards, pens, and whatever for all the colleges and universities in the country. And so we had everything at my disposal, kind of. So the Blackhawks are in the playoffs. Everybody's hyped. Blackhawks are good again, and they're playing Detroit. And it's always like Detroit sucks, but I went a little bit further. I could swear on here, right?
Yeah,
All right, yeah. So we're like fuck Detroit, right? And so I make a Blackhawks logo, like the head, but instead of the face in there, it says fuck Detroit.
This is your first one.
This is my first one, and I kind of made it for fun, just for friends and stuff.
Yeah.
And then word was going around the building that I was going to print these shirts. And so everybody in the building started telling their friends about it. And before you know it, we had like a couple hundred people wanting the shirt.
Oh, shit.
And I'm like, oh, making shirts is pretty easy. And, if you get a little buzz behind something.
Sure.
Before you know it, though, the Blackhawks are down 3-0 to Detroit. And I'm like, oh my God, by the time I give everybody these shirts, they're going to be out of the playoffs.
Right.
Luckily, they came back and won that series. Yeah, so everybody got to wear the shirt and kind of rub it in Detroit's face a little bit. But yeah, that was the first thing and kind of set the light bulb off.
Yeah.
And it was like, wow, this can really be something, as long as I, like have good artwork and, buzzworthy type of stuff.
Yeah, and isn't it funny how a lot of times it comes down to really great timing, right?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, you
without
got to be
that,
on the timing. Yeah.
You could have done your best Blackhawks work, and they could have been crap that year, and maybe not everybody wanted them. And being edgy and putting "fuck Detroit" on it, also people,
Yeah.
like they're drawn towards. You're not the normal guy doing the normal stuff.
Yeah, yeah, and you can't get that anywhere else. You're not going to
No.
the United Center, and they're not going to sell anything like that. But
No.
that is how, like, a lot of us think. It's like
Sure.
that's that edgy stuff that we would rather wear.
Absolutely. Yeah, and not everybody can pull off wearing it too.
No,
But I think that your brand represents being an individual, stepping outside the box, right? And
Yeah.
encouraging people to do something different and not be the normal everything, right?
Yeah. I'm definitely not afraid to go that far with a t-shirt, if that's what it may be.
Have you gone too far and somebody's been like, "Oh, I can't. I love that shirt, man, but I can't wear that."
I don't know. I mean, you do notice when you go that far, like the sales aren't because like, yeah, people may like the artwork and whatnot, but they can't wear it to, the normal functions. They can't wear it to school. They can't wear it to church, obviously, but like if it's like in a moment like that, fuck Detroit, it's in the playoffs. You're watching hockey at a bar or something. That's the perfect setting for it. You're with the boys,
Exactly.
So that one worked because of that. But I've noticed with anything else, you put a swear on a shirt and it kind of cuts the sales pretty significantly.
Right.
So
Well,
I'm still not afraid to do it, but I just know now to not do as big of numbers.
right. And it takes a lot to be successful in businesses. And this really isn't like a business podcast that we do, but it's fun to talk to business owners where I enjoy what you do because you get to use your creativity, you get to be an individual, you get to push the limits of stuff, and being an artist and doing that. But then also comes in this huge thing of it's business. How many shirts do you make? How do you make the shirts? Do you outsource them? And then how do you sell them? How do you distribution, like everything? So you had to figure all this stuff out.
Yeah, still figuring it out too. You never know. Like you might be pumped on a design and then you print off a few hundred of them and then it's crickets once it hits the website. You're like, why didn't this one work? Like I thought it's so genius,
Right.
But yeah, I mean, the business side is not my strong suit. Drawing definitely is.
Yeah.
So,
But you have help along with the way with that too, right?
yeah, a little bit of help. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
good. So the shop, I want to thank you too, because anybody that's listening that's familiar that we did a fundraiser just recently, a bachelorette auction for the second year that we've done it. And thank you very much for donating stuff because the raffle basket was one of the most popular things, which was cool to see people rally around things. So, but my point is that I got to come and see your shop, and it blew me away. Like,
Yeah, thank you.
it's really cool just the way that the shirts explain what you have there. I don't even know how to explain.
Yeah, I mean, first and foremost, what I do is creative. So you want to surround yourself with a creative space. So, I mean, we painted the walls black, hung up rad art, so it's not your typical like printing warehouse where it's like pretty, boring and white walls and,
It's not
whatever.
drab in there, no.
Yeah. So we wanted to make it cool, dark wood floors and stuff like that, and just surround myself with like cool artists that I look up to, And then we have a manual press that we print a lot of shirts on, but we also have an automatic press in the back. That's what does the bulk amount of the heavy lifting there.
That's the giant, like,
Yeah, the sci-fi.
thing.
Yeah, I would love to spray paint that thing black. It's blue right now, so
That's awesome.
it's kind of boring, but
So each one of those things that go down, how many arms does that have on there? How many?
that has 8 heads.
Okay.
So it's but it can fit 10 shirts on at a time too.
Oh, wow.
So yeah.
So in each one prints
8
a different color?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still look at everything and go,
Yeah.
how in the hell does this even work?
Yeah.
How big of a, when you have to purchase something like that, because I'm sure that was not cheap.
No, not cheap at all. Yeah.
You get
yeah.
to a certain point in business where you have to go like, to make the difference to either to do volume, right? To make the money to do it, but you had to invest in that. Like that's
Yeah.
a big step to do.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it seems like every time you feel like you're like getting a little bit ahead, it's like, oh, well, this thing has to come into your life and cost you another $1,000 or $1,500 a month. And it's like, but I was only making $800 extra, like now I'm negative 400, So it's like, now what do I got to do? I got to work a little bit harder. And like,
Right.
it turns into like less and less time of drawing and then more and more time of trying to figure it out and get more business in there, whether it's just printing for other companies in the area or making better designs that catch a little more attention,
So this is a good thing when people listen to this, and like, because I understand, like, I ran a DJ business with 10 units. We were out every night, and we used to say everything. Well, it's just one more gig.
Yeah.
and it's just one more gig.
Yeah.
Well, now we got to do 8 gigs a night to break even, right?
Yeah.
But now when people come to buy a T-shirt and they want to know why it's more money than they thought it was, if they
Yeah.
knew the amount of money and everything that go into building a business like this to be able to make these things, that's why they're not cheap T-shirts.
Right.
Yours are so like when a good run of T-shirts, like one of the ones I have of yours. Shout out to the Vine, Mike Pruitt, everybody there. You sponsored a old fashioned drink there or something.
Yeah, yeah. So they do really cool community like sponsor. They sponsor certain things, from time to time, and they do a really rad one in the holiday season where they come out with a new holiday drink list, and then local businesses get the chance to sponsor a drink.
Right.
And so luckily I love old fashions, and Pruitt was nice enough to let me have dibs on the old fashioned. So
Chocolate cherry or something.
yeah, chocolate cherry old fashioned.
Never had one.
Oh, you should check it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got one in your thermos right now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Who knows
I
what's going on
I
here?
could smell that bourbon. Yeah.
So you do that there.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh, this is a cool opportunity to make a shirt that goes along with it, So I love old fashions. Yeah. So
But that's cool.
Yeah.
So now when you make a shirt like that, I guess the point I was trying to get to, like I have one and I think it's really cool because I love it. But like how many of those exist? Like these are just 1 runs, 2 runs of those?
yeah, so it came out for the first time in 2023.
Okay.
And so I was like, oh, it's going to be a small run. We're going to have an event at the Vine. We'll sell them there. Maybe we'll print off 50 of them.
Mm-hmm.
And the community came out, sold out really quick. We had just a few extras that we were able to put online afterwards. And it's like random 3XLs or small,
Right.
And all of a sudden, like the internet started chirping in. They're like, hey, are you going to reprint this shirt? It's really cool. And I'm like, well, it says Gray's Lake the Vine on it. Like, do you know what that is? They're like, no, but I like old fashions. And I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah. All right. Because I was thinking in my head, this is only going to be a locals only type of thing.
That's what I would assume.
Yeah. But then people are like, I've got Chicago bartenders hitting me up. Like, I want that shirt. So, yeah. So we printed off a few more. And then this year I was like, hey, Pruitt, I want to reprint that design because I got a lot of people asking. So let me get that old fashioned again. Yeah.
Cool. So everybody wins.
Yeah.
You get a holiday menu drink and you get the shirts. And then I see all the employees and everything wearing there.
Yeah.
And the Vine's just a little bit of a supporter of your brand.
Yeah.
Like every bartender's wearing it. Like I think that's their uniform there.
Yeah. I think I heard one time Pruitt was telling people you're only allowed to wear Vine t-shirts or Relish.
Relish.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. Super dope. Yeah.
And the funny thing is you going for graphic design and doing everything, but you have really, I love that it's Relish brand because you should be teaching a class on branding because you have done an awesome job. I will tell you that I will say you've made it in business when you can sell a t-shirt with your name on it. Like if I had a discovering Lake County t-shirt and somebody bought it, I think that's the biggest thing of flattery. But everything you sell has your name on it.
Yeah.
Cool. And that's why people buy it.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Awesome.
Obviously some of the bigger sellers are like more like inspired by something specific in Chicago, but the fact that I can twist that up and it's primarily Relish, but it has this like piece of art or something, drawback from a commercial, like we were just saying, it's got Eagle Man on there, but it says Relish. Like people get the relationship,
Right.
Because of the branding. Yeah.
There's one that I need, and I think it's a Vine shirt too. There's a Bigfoot on one of them.
Oh, yeah, that was during the pandemic time, so that was kind of a one and done drop.
I might
there.
Have to find. I might have to go on eBay and find somebody reselling the
there you go.
Bigfoot shit. Or Pruitt, if you got one laying around, I need one. That's for sure. But that's kind of cool stuff that when you get to see it. Is it fun being in Chicago and see somebody walk by and like turn your head and see them wearing a hat or a shirt?
Man, I don't know if it's imposter syndrome, but every single time I see it, I'm like, why is that person like? Did my mom give that stranger my shirt and hat and tell him to walk by me until I notice? Right. Like every time. But yeah, I mean, it's really cool to see, because I mean, we grind during the summer. We're at a festival almost every weekend. So I see the sales we're doing. I see the merch going out. So it makes sense to run into it, but it still doesn't make sense when you run into it. I'm like, why is that person wearing my shirt? Like,
It's really cool, man.
especially if you go to a sporting event, it's like that person, wanted to be seen at Wrigley. So they chose not to wear a Cubs jersey. They chose something else.
Yep.
And they chose the coolest thing in their drawer. And to them, that shirt or hat was the coolest thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it just blows my mind. It's like you want to be seen in public in something I created. So
It's really cool.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you're humble enough to realize that. Because it is
Yeah.
cool. Because even so, guys, I don't know how women feel, but like when I wear a cool shirt and you're at a Cubs game and you're sitting over the Cubby Bear having a couple drinks beforehand, and somebody's like, "That's a kick-ass shirt, dude," and handshake or high five and like, or ask you where you get it, like, you have something cool, right?
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
fun.
I mean, that's always the moment that I strive for, to be like the conversation starter. Where'd you get that?
So it started. I know it's kind of fun that you're in this office building. You do that, and that you get one. So I always like to make sure that you're not a one hit wonder. What comes after the "Fuck Detroit" shirt? Like, what do you do then?
Yeah, so I mean, that one was built off of, like a Blackhawks run, piggybacking off of the excitement of that. And so I think I saw like my market then was kind of like the bar scene and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
So like I said, I was also working at the bars on the weekend while I was working the day job. So I started making some shirts that would appeal to like all the sports and like, bar clientele,
Mm-hmm.
whether it be like just a picture of a beer on a t-shirt or whatever. And then I would host like events every once in a while, and I would sell the shirts in person. So then that's when I really saw like the draw. Like you bring it and show it to them in person, because you could be
see it.
online,
Right.
but anybody could look at a picture online and it's a JPEG. If they see the actual shirt, and I always like go after quality. That's, if I'm going to spend as much time as I do on the artwork, like the quality has to match. So I spent a lot of time sourcing, the best t-shirts and hats and whatnot. So once you see that person pick it up and like, oh, this is actually a nice shirt,
Right.
and they like the design, they're like, yeah, take my money.
Right.
Yeah.
It is true. And what's funny is that I have like 4 totally go-to t-shirts at my house. But I wear them, well, kind of because they're cool, but the brand of the t-shirt, or it's comfortable, or the way it fits, like, I think that's genius in the selling of it, even if it costs more money. But to have a shirt that somebody will wear all the time. And I say, oh, I spent $40 on a t-shirt, and people are like, that's a lot of money. But you know what? I've worn it 100 times.
Yeah.
So like, if you break it down per wear,
Yeah.
it's the cheapest shirt I have.
Yeah, not only did you wear it that many times, but every time you wore it, somebody was like, "Hey, that's pretty cool. Where'd you get that?"
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's fun to do that. So I like your with creativity and style, but also they're with quality. And quality is like, obviously these days, not everything is quality.
Yeah, for
Everybody
sure.
on TikTok buying a shirt off there that's $8, and then they get
Yeah.
it where it wants and wash it, and then it's a small, instead of a double X.
For sure. Yeah. I don't. It's really hard to like be seen on TikTok because there's so much of that. It's like
I think
every
you
shirt
push it.
ad that pops up, it's like, I got this. It was only $8. You can get one too right now. It's like, oh, here we go again.
Right,
Yeah.
it's the discount.
Yeah.
Not that I'm ever on TikTok, but I know the ads you're talking about.
Yeah.
I buy my little guy shirts like on there because I think I bought like a 1991 like Dream Team basketball.
I've
t-shirt.
seen that ad.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And it's like $8.
Yeah.
But it shrinks and he wears it. And he's a little kid, and I think it's cool that he wants to wear it.
Yeah.
But having stuff like that's not your audience.
Right.
Your audience is a completely different one.
Yeah.
So your brand, okay, and skeletons. There's skeletons all over your stuff. Is that just your style?
It's my style kind of on necessity. It's like I have to stay away from likenesses as much as possible. So how else do you draw like a being, like, well, the skeletal part, and that's also like punk rock, where like punk and skate, hip hop, basketball, like those are kind of like where I draw my inspirations from. So like you see a lot of skeletons in punk. So
Yeah.
yeah, so it's kind of comes from that. It's like that's badass.
It
you know?
is cool, and it's edgy too,
Yeah.
right? It's like the sneakers and sports and skating and like all of the what it goes around.
Yeah.
Um, I'm gonna assume something, but you can tell me if I'm different. Is Relish brand towards males majorly?
Yeah, primarily males.
Okay.
We do have a pretty large female audience, though.
Large women or large like a lot of
A lot of people.
lot of
Yeah,
people,
yeah,
sorry.
yeah, yeah. So I'll notice like when we do the festivals, in the summer all around Chicago, like a lot of females who come up and they love like the vintage oversized t-shirt look. Like that's very popular for them to go to thrift stores and buy something.
Right.
But if mine kind of looks like a vintage shirt already, even though it's brand new and reproduced hundreds of times, like
Right.
they still get that look. So they wear the big oversized shirt that they can go work out in the gym too and whatnot.
Nice.
Yeah. So it's definitely not 50-50. It's more male than female, but who knows? Maybe we'll work on more ladies apparel.
You never know, and
Yeah.
it's a style. It's a if it fits in with what you're doing. So, I think it was a couple weekends ago that you were leaving for different things. So you go up and you set up booths at big events in Chicago. I don't want to make this episode timely because obviously people can listen to this 3 years from now. But at the time of recording, 2025. But you do like tell me some of the events you're at, like auto shows.
Yeah, so we'll do like around 20 to 25 events a year.
That's a lot.
Most of them are in the summer, so you're looking from May to October. Yeah, so last year I worked every single day from the second weekend of May until middle of October.
Every single
Yeah,
day?
I took July 4th off. That was the only day that I had off. Yeah.
I don't even want to know what you did that day.
Yeah. I don't remember.
Right,
We'll
okay.
put it that way. Yeah.
Good for you.
Yeah.
So,
But I still have all my limbs, so
Right.
it wasn't that bad. Yeah.
so when you go to I'm sure when you first started, it's hard to gauge, but like when you just because I love numbers, not money numbers, but like you go set up at I think you are saying soon you're going to World of Wheels.
Yeah.
Right? How many T-shirts do you bring to World of Wheels to sell?
Yeah, so I mean, it's all about numbers, right? You don't know the first year you do one of these events.
What do you know? What do you?
Yeah, so I'm getting a little bit better to like, okay, this World of Wheels in particular, this is our first year doing that one, but I was up front first and foremost. I'm like, hey, how many people are buying tickets to this thing? And they're like, well, last year we had 120,000 people through 3 days. I'm like, okay, that's a good amount of people, So I know that I can bring the full setup with backups. So we have like a crate system. So we have like crates that like fruits and vegetables usually come in, and we stack those up, and we could fit a certain amount of shirts in there. Obviously, we're heavy on large XLs, the most popular shirts.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have a number system within there. Like we need this many smalls, mediums, all the way to 4XL, right? And if it's a really popular shirt that we know does well in person, then we have back stock of that goes behind our booth. So it all fits in our 10 by 20 space.
Wow.
But it's also very inviting. It's not full of clutter. You walk up, you could touch a shirt. We got a couple coat racks, and
It's my favorite thing to touch a T-shirt.
Yeah.
I need to see how it feels.
it's important
Right.
for sure. And also people don't want to like a lot of booths will the product will be behind a table full of a couple guys like staring at you, and nobody wants to shop that way either. So I like to have the open space so people can just walk up and freely, shop, and then they can ask questions,
I used to say that any kind of trade show, anything you do, you never should be behind a table. People should be there and inviting, and because the customer
Yeah.
is the most important person there, not you.
Yeah,
Feeling
absolutely.
like that.
Yeah.
So when you do that, you're like, it blows my mind. Like, I'm like, okay, 120,000 people coming. Okay, are you gonna sell to 1%, to 5%? Like, how do you
yeah.
even figure out like any idea how many to bring?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think it kind of depends on the event too. Like I was recently just at the Chicago Auto Show,
Yeah.
and that saw 300,000 people. So I'm starting to do the math there, and I'm like, okay, 300,000 people. That's also 10 days. So I'm like, all right, I should do roughly this per day, and that'll equal. So I had a number that I thought I would be at,
Right.
but then the map comes out, and you see the layout of the land, and you see where they put you, and I'm like, oh, well, there might be 300,000 people coming here,
Right.
but I'm going to see 10,000,
Because you're, like,
20,000.
at the ad
Yeah.
thing or something.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's part of the thing that you can't factor in
Right.
until that map comes out, or a lot of times till you get there. So some of these events, you don't even have like a map to go off of. It just might be a street, and you might be on a dead corner.
Sure. So at least they're multiple days and you're not that far away. So you can do first day and be like, oh, we killed it today. We better get back and bring a lot more with us, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Wow. Okay, that stuff like that just blows my mind.
That's still a learning curve every time.
Yeah.
You got to keep numbers from previous years. One of them threw us off last summer. We've done it for 4 years now. It's called Mayfest, and the first 3 years, this is like one of the first events in the summer. So it's May. It's still not great weather. So I think a lot of the first few years that we're doing it just like wasn't nice enough. But last year we got like hit beautiful weather that weekend.
Everybody wanted to get
It
out.
was like the first chance for people to go out. Oh my God, we got popped so hard and just we weren't ready for it.
Really?
Yeah, so we're like
That's a
calling
good
in
thing, too,
reinforcements, like, hey, can you bring a box of these shirts?
Right.
They're selling so quick. We can't keep them. Tell everybody to get back on the presses.
Right.
Yeah, you
Have
couldn't
fun,
couldn't make it fast enough. Yeah,
That's great.
yeah,
And that's got to be a really good feeling.
absolutely.
Even though you're busting your ass and you're doing,
Yeah.
at least you're doing what you love. And it's kind of and you being there in person, I like that a lot too, because um, I'm an instant gratification guy. Like I like to see, that's why I like DJing things, because you could see how people react instantly. It's
Yeah.
not like being a photographer where you have to, go back and then show them the photos 3 weeks later. It's like if people like your shirts, they walk up, they like them, they buy them. And if they don't, they'll shake their head and walk right away, right?
Yeah,
So you know what's up. You know what things are going to
yeah, yeah.
that's going to work.
Yeah, so you get instant feedback like that, what you're talking about, but you also get the gratification of like people come up with like, who makes these? Like they think that maybe they're purchased on China or something,
Sure.
On a website
You're
from
like, I
China
fucking
or
drew
something.
it.
And then they're like, do you actually draw these? I'm like, yeah, in my sketch pad. And then I goes to computer, and then it goes right on the press, all in the same building, and then a lot of people are blown away, and they're also like, they feel lucky to meet the person behind it. So it's really cool to be at the booth when you could see the wheels of that person turning and like, oh, wow, this is really cool.
Right. And part of what makes it so special, these aren't like completely mass produced in some place in China. Like they're made in Grays Lake,
Yeah.
over here on the corner.
Yeah.
Which makes it even cooler.
Yeah.
Which I love. So I know the very well receped in Chicago, but what a great market to have because it's so big. So, but like out here, Lake County wise, do you see that you get a lot of support from people here?
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, I grew up in Grays or around Lake, so I get all the people that I grew up with are supporting me, and they spread it around, whatnot. Even if they don't buy something, they're sharing my posts and stuff.
Sure.
Like, look at what my friend's doing, which is really humbling too. It's super cool.
It is very cool.
But then you got guys like Mike Pruitt, that is just like, hey, if anybody's gonna make our T-shirts, it might as well be this guy, and then
Yep.
and then have our staff wear his shirts, and then you go right down the line too, it's like, and you got Charlie's doing stuff,
Yeah.
and I mean, everybody's like participating in some way, and then
Which is cool.
and then everybody else like, hey, where are you getting these shirts from, So then it kind of piggybacks
Right.
off that as well.
Well, and being in your hometown and going around and having people here, like in some ways, it's even cooler than seeing some rando at a Bulls game, like to see like
Yeah.
people from town that'll wear it and support. And
Yeah.
you wear it everywhere.
Oh,
which is
yeah,
good, too.
yeah.
You are your brand.
Oh, absolutely.
You are
Yeah.
your brand.
Yeah, it's very rare that I'll even like leave the house without something that says relish on it.
So do you own anything that doesn't have relish on it?
It's weeding its way out, that's for sure. Yeah.
That's funny. We're starting to bring it into our home.
Yeah.
My 20-year-old son was like, he's totally pumped, and I love your stuff. I like the hat that I'm wearing right now. If you guys are watching on YouTube or anything, the hat that I'm wearing now, this is one of my favorites of yours too.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so during the shows, what I do is like pause a little bit, and I have some other rapid fire questions I want to ask you, so all of Layton County can get to know you just a little bit
Okay.
better. So some are fun, some are a little in the middle. But I have a new one because
Some are not fun.
some are more serious, I should say, like maybe more insightful. How about that?
All right.
So one of my favorite ones, because in Grays Lake at the time of this recording, I think we did like 120 different episodes. So I had to change my hot seat questions a lot because same questions to everybody. So looking through like what did I want to know about people or what I thought was cool to find out from people. So this might be the hardest one, the only one that's maybe a thought provoking, but I love the question. What impresses you about someone if you meet somebody? What qualities do they possess that would impress you?
Oh, I think I love seeing different energies in people. You know, if you walk in the room and somebody is clearly like has an aura about them.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'll bring up my girlfriend Ashley
Okay.
first and foremost. Like she was bartender too. She actually still bartends at Charlie's on Mondays. Yeah. Shout out to her and Charlie's. But I walk into the bar and she lights up. She's so excited to see you. It like is jumping off of her. You know, it's like this electricity you can see around her. So I love like a good energy about somebody, you know.
Absolutely. And the more people I get to know, the more seldom you really see it. Or you see people like talking in a corner and that person like is like running the show because they light up the room. Like your gal, which is cool. All right, first car you ever had?
Chrysler LeBaron. Yeah.
You had a LeBaron.
I did. Yeah.
Nice. Was it convertible?
It was a convertible.
At that
yeah.
time, I think everybody had a Chrysler LeBaron.
Yeah.
What color was it?
It was red, of course.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. So
The white top?
It looked fast. I had a black top.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
cooler then.
Yeah. The top was definitely torn on both sides where the gears, I guess, met the canvas the most. Yeah. So I had big rips in there.
Yes.
Very-
That's a PIMP. That's what I call it.
Yeah. Very nice smell. It also had the side windows that were stuck up because I guess water went in there and the gears stopped working. Whatever. You know, they all had it.
What year was that car? Do you know?
1991, I believe. Yeah. 91 Chrysler LeBaron. Yeah.
Okay, so along with that, when you drove your Chrysler LeBaron, or if you were driving it there, what was your first concert you ever went to?
Oh, first concert. That's a great question. What was the name of that band? I went to some it was like a Q101 thing. So like there were a lot of
where it was?
I
Was
don't
it like Alpine Valley or
No, it was in Chicago somewhere. So it was probably like Aragon Ballroom or, you know,
Cool
like
place
the
to go.
Riviera or something.
Yeah.
I think my first concert that I had memories of that I was like excited and probably used my own money to go to was in St. Clown Posse. Yeah. Those are my guys. I'm a huge juggalo. Yeah. I don't know if that's well known, but
No, I
Yeah.
love it. No, can you get them to wear your shirts? Can you send them to those?
oh, I actually make most of their merch.
Do you really?
Yeah.
For Insane Clown Posse?
Yeah. Well, I shouldn't say most of it at this point.
The fact that you just make any of it. is-
Yeah, there was a while where I was producing all of it, and then I was like, this is too much, you know. So we got a couple other artists in there and stuff like
Okay,
that.
so how did you get them? Did you just make a shirt and send it to them?
No, it was a little more organic than that. I was at a show and I was wearing a shirt that I made, but it was like loosely based off of one of their designs type of thing. But it was like these rhinestones because that was hot during the early 2000s to have a shirt that just had rhinestones on it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. PIMP. Yeah.
Right, exactly.
So yeah, I'm out in the alleyway just getting some fresh air, you know, in between like performers because it gets hot and sweaty and fago-y in there.
Right.
And so I'm just talking to the DJ. So the DJ is out there. I'm like, oh, hey, what's up, dude? And he's like, where did you get this shirt? And I'm like, oh, I made it. He's like, can you make more? I'm like, yeah. I got you. Yeah, just send me your address and whatever. So we started communicating. I was making shirts for him to perform on stage because there would be 3 people on stage, both members of Insane Clown Posse and the DJ. So he's wearing these shirts. Now ICP's like, where are you getting these shirts? He's like, oh, I'm not going to tell you. He didn't tell him for a little while. Yeah. So then he finally tells him. So now I'm making these one-off shirts just for concerts for them to wear, and now the crowd is like, where are you getting these shirts? So it like slowly trickled into that. And now I get a phone call from their manager, and he's like, hey, can you produce more of these shirts? And I'm like, oh, like the rhinestone ones? He's like, well, we're hoping like just like your original art on t-shirts. I'm like, oh, thank God. Yeah, this is the phone call I was waiting for.
So
yeah.
Cool. So that was a good phone call.
Yeah. So the first design was kind of like based off of their parameters. Like they kept me in a box on that first one.
Right.
But then I met them another time out of state and we started drinking, and I'm like running my mouth. I'm like, I'll produce you 20 shirts by the summer. I'm like, just give me the chance. It's got to be my artwork, though. And he looks at me and goes, okay.
Shut up.
Yeah. So I'm like, oh, shit. Did I just agree to produce 20 shirts in like 2 months? But I got there. I think ended up being 18 new designs. Wow. But yeah, ever since then, though, like it was like just popping for a while after that.
How fun is that?
That was amazing, yeah. And that's when I first started my screen printing business too. So to have like an actual client, so I got to learn business, screen printing, and I was doing the design work that I wanted to. So It was a huge full circle moment.
And it's cool because it's something you're excited about too.
Yeah.
It's making it for ICP. It's not like Walmart wanting you to make sure it's like you're somebody that you love that.
Yeah.
That's really freaking cool. Okay, so that was.
I will make shirts for Walmart though. Yeah,
yes,
if they call, yeah.
Yes,
I will sell myself out.
He will have 100% shirts ready to go. So I'm glad I asked your first concert. That's what I'm happy about. Did you play sport in high school?
Yeah,
What did you do?
I played baseball.
Baseball guy. All right.
Yeah, I dabbled in basketball too. I tried out my freshman year, and then I tried out again my senior year, and I don't know. I clearly wasn't going to be playing that much. So
You had other things to do.
Yeah, I wussed out a little bit.
That's all right.
But I got more into basketball after high school. But yeah.
That's still fun.
So baseball is my first love.
What position did you play?
Second base. Second, third. And then after high school, you start playing softball. Then I was like, Mr. Everything. Yeah. Where do you want me?
Softball.
Yeah.
I really missed
I still play.
Good for you. Yeah. I don't know where you have time to, but yeah.
Well, you have to make time for certain things. You can't work all the time.
Right.
So,
but you don't have do you have kids?
No.
Okay. Well, there you go. There's some extra time for you.
Yeah.
That's it.
You got to crowbar in some softball, right.
Okay. So you have a theme party at your house. What does the invitation read? What kind of theme are we having?
Ooh, I like this. What kind of theme? We might do like a Salvador Dali theme one time, maybe. Real melty vibes kind of thing.
I love it.
I always love the like the white themes where you have to wear all white.
Yeah.
I thought that was really cool and classy. I did that for a birthday party one year.
I think it was
really
great.
Cool.
Kind of got ruined this year, but but yes, people used to do it like all the time. I think it's really cool.
Yeah.
Which way I go? What do you wish that you learned sooner in life?
Ooh, I mean, I'm still trying to learn business, so I wish I took some sort of like classes on business growing up, because that's a huge downfall of what I do. I wish I had a better grasp.
Right.
Yeah.
But you know, it's fun that life takes you in ways, and you're sometimes you're forced to learn things. Right?
Yeah, definitely forced. Yeah.
Have you ever eaten a roller dog from a gas station?
Absolutely.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
I knew you're my people. So then I'll follow that with, do you believe in Bigfoot, or what do you think the chances that he exists?
I think he does not exist today, but I think he existed at one point.
I think that is a great answer. One of the smartest. Not saying you're not the smartest guest I've ever had, but there was a
I'm
doc.
definitely not even close. Yeah.
I'm not anywhere near. I had a doctor on the show, and I asked him. I said, what about Bigfoot? And he like really went into it. And he goes, "Do you really think like humans have been here for just a fraction of time? Like you don't think that Bigfoot existed at some time? There were dinosaurs.
Yeah.
You don't think a Bigfoot existed?" And I was like, "Thanks, dude. I like that. I got
Yeah.
a 6 foot Bigfoot in my front yard." I'm like, I thought I was the only guy. This will be fun for you. You kick the door open at a place. You walk into the club, slow motion. What's the walk up song? What's the song playing as you walk into your? What's the walk up song?
Ooh, I've got a few that I like. We prefer to call it like you're going up to bat, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's your walk up song
That's
to
your walk-up song,
go up
right.
to bat. You're at Wrigley Field and this starts pumping. There's a song by Insane Clown Posse. Yeah, man, if I was on like the highest stage, I would definitely rock ICP, right?
Right.
Because that's deep down in my core, And what's funner than letting everybody know that you're a juggalo, So like there's this one that just comes out. It's like wicked clowns. It's just like it's popping though. Like it has energy. So it would pump me up. And then if the crowd got into it too, that'd be even better.
I love it. I love that you're very exact about it too, because like
Yeah.
when you like hear the songs, like walk up songs are awesome.
Yeah. Oh, there's this other one. If I wasn't into ICP and that was where my heart was, like I think like a song that just brings the energy is that Simon Says song. It's like boom, 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 boom. That Godzilla like rip. Yeah. Do 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 do. Oh man.
I can see the slow mo walk with the smoke coming up at you.
Yeah. That one's got some like menacing like energy to it. Yeah, that's sick.
Yeah, and a little evil too. At
Yeah.
the same time, which I like.
Yeah.
Last show you binge watched.
The last show. Going through Severance season 2 right now. I'm not a binge watcher because I work so much. So when I come home and it's usually like the 30 minutes that I'm eating dinner that I get to watch something.
Right.
And the the shows are always 45 minutes to an hour. I'm passed out.
Ready to make it through. I don't
Yeah.
know how many times I've started a show and woke up. I start a season and I wake up and it's like on episode 5.
Yeah.
It's just been rolling
Yeah.
for 5 hours and I'm
Yeah.
sleeping.
Or it pops up. It said, "Are you still watching?" I'm like, "I'm not watching. How far did we get to this point?"
And why are you watching me sleep?
Yeah.
Are you watching me?
Yeah, exactly.
Do you have a go-to karaoke song?
Man, I used to do a Kanye West song. Yeah, R.I.P. Kanye West for being cool.
Right.
Yeah, it was what's that song where he's like, "Get down, girl, go ahead, get down."
Yeah.
Yeah,
You ain't messing with no broke.
yeah.
Whatever it is.
Finish that one.
Yeah.
What's the next word?
No, we can say whatever we want. I'm not getting canceled. I'm not wearing my white outfit or wearing a Kanye shirt. Tell me about the second time you got arrested.
I've never been arrested. I should have been. Yeah.
That maybe I should change the question.
Yeah.
Tell me about the second time you should have been arrested.
Oh,
we don't.
yeah.
Maybe we shouldn't go there.
Yeah.
Okay. Name your favorite celebrity you've ever met.
Who that I ever met? Ooh.
Because I think at this point of our lives we've met a couple. I mean, obviously you got ICP.
Yeah. Well, they're more like my heroes. So, you ever hear that saying, "Don't meet your heroes"?
Right.
Yeah. So,
Mm-hmm.
I don't like to get like too close to them because of that.
Well, yeah, because you still want to see them at a level that they're.
Yeah.
We have to have a fantasy of what they are, right? When you
Yeah.
really get to meet people, we're actually all the same.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't
yeah.
want my
yeah.
heroes to
Oh,
be the same.
you're a letdown. You're just like my buddy.
You're
Yeah.
an asshole, just like my rest of my friends.
Yeah. I was recently at the Blackhawks game, the one at Wrigley Field, and Derrick Rose was like walking back and forth behind our seats. So
That's cool.
I didn't actually meet him, didn't say hi or anything, but Ashley walked up, was like, "Hey," and like hit him on the arm or whatever.
Nice.
So there was a little interaction there. That was really cool. that's one of those like in awe moments there.
And there's not many people that I could like see walk by and be in awe. There's not many at all, but D Rose is like,
yeah, that was a cool moment.
I wish he was in Chicago forever.
Yeah.
Okay. My big guy who's 20 now, first Bulls basketball game ever took him to was when Rose came back from his ACL surgery and played one game and scored like 35 points and hurt himself again. Yeah. That was the game we were at, so we got to see Rose play once. So
nice.
It was worth the trip there. Fill in the blank. Hey bartender, can I have a
bourbon neat?
Okay. Any particular bourbon you like?
Well, I prefer Buffalo Trace, but not every bar has it for whatever reason.
Which is weird.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Have you ever won an award?
Yeah. It's funny. I
laugh.
laugh because I've probably won a few, but the one that I think of right away is a Juggalo award, like best graphic designer of the year award. Yeah, that was really cool.
Okay, explain to everybody that's listening, what is a Juggalo?
What is a Juggalo?
I feel like we're on Jeopardy right now.
Right.
For 300, what is a Juggalo?
Yeah, I don't know. So a Juggalo is a fan of the group Insane Clown Posse. Yeah, I'd say like that's where it starts, and then it just like kind of goes out from there. You're like, you meet other Juggalos and you're like, hey, I'm more like you in these other areas too, so
nice.
Yeah.
All right, so well, thank you for participating in that. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
All right, so now with you, you've made in 10 years, you've come a really long way on what you didn't even plan on doing, right? Which is kind of fun. You kind of fell into it, and I love that what you're doing works in with all of that you still get to be creative. You get to do all these things, and you obviously have a lot of passion about it, and I love that you like the customer satisfaction. You like to see people that are happy to wear something that you've created. So now you're 40, what, right now?
45.
45 years old. All right, so we're like, you're halfway to, right?
Yeah.
Which is really fucked up to think about.
Yeah.
So when you think about like the next 10 years, I don't not talk about, I hate people that say, well, what's your 10-year plan? What's your 5-year plan? Well, like ultimately in 10 years, where would you like to see yourself being?
I hope that the business that I've started is running itself. And I'm just like maybe just showing up for artwork or like input, but we have people much smarter than me, much more talented than me, like actually doing the real dirty work. Right. That would be ideally where I'm at.
Right. So you could keep doing the same thing, but maybe stop by the auto show for 45 minutes to see how things are going rather than 10 days.
Yeah, definitely.
While you're on your yacht somewhere.
Yeah. As much fun as those festivals are, and I love meeting people that are excited about my stuff. Yeah. Like that would be the first thing to go because like it's so the grind is just too much, and it's just like it doesn't stop. So if I can just relax for one day, that would be awesome.
Right. No. I always forget like the obvious things every time I record a podcast because I love meeting people and I love finding out like what you do and how things go. So somebody sitting right now that's listening to this, I'm like, oh man, like besides going to a social media outlet, like where's the website? Where can I find like I feel inspired to buy a bunch of shirts right now. Where do I go? Where do I look? How do I find these designs?
Yeah, well, besides your phone listening to you and just hearing us say relish over and over,
right?
It's going to find you. Trust me.
Wait till they click on this podcast.
Yeah.
And it'll go through, right?
Yeah, I pay for that to happen, so it's going to happen. Or you can just look up relishbrand.com. Yeah, that's the easiest way. Yeah.
Cool. And there are... and what I find there's limited runs of things, right? So when some of these things are gone, those are gone.
Yeah, there's a handful of stuff that I'll like change the design up seasonally if it's like sports themed. I mean that's where a lot of my passion comes from. I loved sports growing up, especially Chicago sports. So it's easy to turn and burn those. And it gets me excited every season. It's like, oh, we're gonna do another couple baseball themed designs, right. And like that pumps me up. Like, what are we going to do? Like, even I'm excited and like, right. What is Relish going to come up with next? And I'm like, wait a minute, that's my job. Like I have to figure that out.
I'm the one that has to do that.
Yeah.
But that's fun though, right?
Yeah, that's absolutely. Awesome. Yeah.
That's really cool. So you don't see you taking a different path, or like you like your shop in Grays Lake, size wise and everything like that. I'm sure that there's like when you said, "Oh yeah, you'd sell out to Walmart or whatever," but there's got to
Yeah.
be a somewhere where it's comfortable enough where you're working to what do they say? Not work to live, live to live. You're working to live, not living to work. Right? Is that how you say it? Yeah,
That sounds about right. I
yeah,
know.
something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
I'm
But
not good at those type of sayings,
you
but I
can
know what
still
you mean.
enjoy yourself enough where you're enjoying your job and it's not like running your life where it's so bad that you get to not like it anymore, right?
Right. Yeah, yeah. Oh, we got on the topic the one day at the shop and was like, if you won like a certain amount of like money, what would you do?
Sure.
It's like that's one of those age old questions, and I'm
Right.
like, well, I would do exactly the same thing, but I would be here less. Like
Sure.
I would just be at home drawing instead of being at the shop every day. But I would still be a creative.
Sure.
Like that's
You could
that's
go
my
to
purpose
your
on this earth.
right. You could go to your villa in Italy and draw for 2 weeks and come back home, right? And then
Yeah.
have your stuff rather than just doing it like. But it's a great answer that you can say that because you're doing what
Yeah.
you love, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because there's so many people out there that aren't doing it. Let's end with this because we have a lot of people that listen that are younger, and I think this would be very appealing when people listen. Um, I went for like my son's 20 years old. Again, I hang out with all these guys, and I see all these 20-year-old like
You had
baseball
them when you were
players.
4. So
Exactly, exactly. I have an 8-year-old too, which is very strange. But like to these kids that they want to be influencers. They're looking to have jobs. Like you and I have been through the trenches of like finding things you love and being able to do what you love. But some advice to these kids, whether they're like, we don't want them to be corporate whores, or maybe and everybody, if you are, I'm sorry if that offends you, but like there's certain things. What would advice you give to a 20-year-old kid getting on the work thing about either chasing a dream or what would you tell them?
yeah, I mean, some people it seems like they have it figured out from the get go. Like I was never one of those people. Even though some people might look at me now and say like, "Man, you figured it out." You're having fun doing what you do.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't like that always, but I think if you just enjoy something and you could figure out a way to get paid for it, like that's you just follow that path, and don't stop until you get to a comfortable spot.
Yes.
Because if you really really enjoy it, there you'll figure out a way to get paid for it for sure.
You will. And it's not going to come easy. And it's not going to
No.
come fast.
No.
Right?
No.
So you just have to keep
And if it is too hard and you bow out and go work for something, then it wasn't for you. Like maybe that wasn't the path, you didn't enjoy it that much.
And I always tell people no matter what you do, they still say earning your money. They just don't give it to you, right?
Yeah.
You still have to earn it, whatever you do, whether it's doing a podcast or making sure it's like you still have to bust your ass and do it, right?
Yeah.
And you still have to do the dirty work to keep it up.
Yeah, I think that's especially the way social media is today. Like you don't see that side of it. It's like I put in 16-hour days every single day, even on the weekends. So we're talking about, I don't know, maybe 20 days off in a calendar year, So and it's not 9 to 5, So yeah, it's a grind. It's most people just won't even do that.
Well, especially in the society we live in now. And I don't want to go down that rabbit hole, but yeah, people just don't know what it takes. But but if young men and young women listening out there, they don't even have to be young. Once you figure out that you put in the time and you work hard like that, it pays off.
Mm-hmm.
Because everybody else is lazy right now. It's actually an easier time to do things.
Yeah.
Because people give up so easy.
Yeah, 100%.
To get after it.
And it could be more gratifying too.
Amen. And then something to be proud of too. When people ask you what you do, you can be proud to tell them.
Absolutely.
That's awesome. Which I always tell people, I do my best every day. Every day. Derrick, thank you so much for spending time with me today.
Yeah, thank you.
Hey, Lake County, thank you guys so much for listening. Do me a favor, no matter where you guys are listening, whether you're on Apple, whether you're on Spotify, whether you're on YouTube, wherever you're at, do me a favor, hit the subscribe button because that way every week you will get an alert of a new guest from around the area here that hopefully be inspiring, have some fun stories, and it'll be lift up and kind of celebrate our community and people that make just where we live so awesome. And I will end, besides subscribing, do me a favor. get out there. You never know what your friends, your family, anybody is going through. So you never know if they're having a bad day. So a little tiny random act of kindness or two, whether it's smiling at a cashier or holding the door for somebody or just shooting somebody a smile and telling them to have a good day, it means a lot. And a lot of people are having really shitty times right now. So be a good human. Kindness spreads like wildfire. So Derrick, thank you so much, buddy, for being here.
Thank you. I love
Lake
that
County.
message.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
And Lake County, we'll see you next Tuesday, everybody.